Looking next terrestrials. So today I'm going to be talking to you. I'm far late to this fandom on the internet, but about Carry On by Rowell. This book is, if I were to pick a more contemporary book, this would be my favourite book of all time. That's discounting classics though, because Jane Eyre is also very much up there. A very interesting comparison, but I love this book so much. I read it 2 or 3 years ago, but I wasn't busy being a booktuber then, so I never really talked about it online. But I do love it. My non-spoiler section, 5 stars, obviously. I love the relationship in this book. I love all the characters are so good in this book. Yeah, I like everyone. Agatha sometimes annoys me, but the rest of them I love them all, and that's more a thing on me than on the writing. But yeah, I love this, and I love the plot, and I find it so interesting, the way it's done and everything. That might literally be all I have, because all of my favorite things are like this quote here or whatever. I apologize for noise, my window's open because I am quite warm. I tried writing things down, but I couldn't come up with a lot, so I'm just gonna have to talk at you for a while. I apologize. But yeah, non-spoiler people, goodbye now. Only spoiler people, hello. So, this book owns my whole heart. I love, first of all, this book kind of, especially at the time, but obviously, it kind of, especially when I was in Fangirl, which is where these characters in this relationship was first sort of invented. It's sort of a parody Harry Potter, but it's Rainbow Rowell's own take on it, and it's, I think, far more interesting than that. When you think of the Mage in this book, you would imagine, or I immediately saw the Mage as like a kind of, not but like comparable in terms of plot device as Dumbledore in the Harry Potter series, because Simon Snow is obviously the chosen one Harry Potter of this series. But it meant that I didn't really what's interesting about me is that I have never liked Dumbledore as a character in Harry Potter. That's not what this is about. I'm not going to explain my reasons, but I always disliked him as a character. And I was always quite distrustful of the Mage as a result of this, because everyone loves Dumbledore. But I was like, I'm just distrustful because he's like Dumbledore, so I didn't suspect him of being a villain. But then he turned out to be a villain anyway, and like an outright villain, as opposed to like this morally grey character that Dumbledore was, as far as I'm concerned. And it was good, and it was a brilliant subversion of what the audiences or the readers are expecting, and it's really interesting. Another thing, I'm going to talk about about Simon and Baz in a minute, but one thing I found really interesting is the way the magic system works in this universe. It's explored more in, where is it? In Wayward Son, which I've also read, and I think I'll do a book talk on at some point. I also sadly don't have matching covers, but yeah, the magic system in this series is so interesting to me, because the way it works is, to my understanding, which I think was furthered by this actually, is that when phrases that are used commonly in society become magical words, so there's lots of phrases. So for example, near the end, let me find it. Where is it? At yeah, at the end, they're talking about hiding Simon's wings, and it says, Penny's been casting, these aren't the droids you're looking for, which is obviously, a reference. And because of sort of the culture around it when this book was released, that was a well-known thing that people would say, meaning that it was, it was a thing that was used. And I think I think that's a Star Wars reference. If it's not, I'm so sorry. But by proxy of that being a thing that was well known, that was a spell. And the same with, there's lots of normal phrases like Baz uses "there's nothing to see here" because he doesn't know what is it? I don't know Bunce's human robot spell or whatever it is that he says. But that's just a phrase that "there's nothing to see here" is a phrase that is used in culture, and it's so interesting that that's how it works and that she decided that was how it works. And I love it as a magic. I truly love it as a magic system, because it makes logical. Like, obviously, magic in of itself is illogical, but it makes sense. Whereas things like, for example, the Harry Potter magic system, they have verbal magic, but it doesn't really work like that. It's just kind of the words that, like, it's not really, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not super explicit why these words mean these things. It's just like, oh, Avada Kedavra is the, and like Expelliarmus means to put, like, it's just like, oh, these are some words that sound quite Latin, and that's why we're gonna, like, like, it doesn't always make sense, whereas this has grounding in reality at the time, and it's so interesting. And again, I could further talk about that with the sequel, but I will not, because I'm going to do a separate book talk on that if you would like to see it. But I also love I love this world in general, but Penelope Bonds is a badass. She's so cool. There's a sort of interaction between Agatha and Penelope, I think, when they're all sitting in Baz's house trying to figure out what to do next, when Agatha and Penelope came over. And I can't remember the exact quote, and I cannot be able to find it, but it's something along the lines of, Agatha says, "Oh, we're just side characters in in his story, and it doesn't matter what we say." And Penelope looks at her and says, "Speak for yourself, Agatha." And it's like, whoa, you're right, I love you, but whoa. Penelope Vance is a badass, and she's so cool, and I respect her with my whole heart. I like Agatha too. That's the thing, I don't dislike Agatha, and again, this made me kind of like her somewhat more, but I think, like, she's the stereotype of, like, the princess that doesn't, I just want to be a normal girl, like that, which, like, is a trope that I guess makes, like, I get it, but, like, I'm just not, it's not my vibe, and I think that's fine. Because there are definitely people who love Agatha and are like, yeah, totally, I get that. But I think, I don't know, it was just never really a trope that I was super interested in. Now I'm going to talk to you about Simon and Vats, because they own my, if you're on my Twitter, you'll know that they own my whole heart. I do. I love them so much. I love the whole exchange about Simon wanting Baz to call him Simon and not Snow. It's absolutely brilliant and effervescent and just fantastic. I'm sure I've got a thing, but I love that dynamic. It really makes me happy. And it's just it's so fan fiction. And I said this the last time I mentioned this book. This book feels like well written fan fiction, and I don't mean that in a bad way whatsoever. And it might just be because it's gay. Maybe that's what it is. And it's like sort of got a. It's like if it's like been described to me before as Drarry with vampires and canon, which, like, I guess, but it's its own thing. But it kind of has that vibe, and I think that might be why I associate it with that. But yeah, but there's this quote here. So when I get back, Snow's still sitting in the circle of ash. I know he can't see me. I call out so I don't startle him. It's me, Snow. You called me Simon before. I can see it in his eyes when he finally discerns me walking towards him. I light a flame in my hand. Not in my hand, floating above it. No, I didn't. You did. And this just continues throughout the rest of the thing, and it brings me joy. They're also just such, like, sassy buggers. There's just such the back and forth between them, even before they're together, just the back and forth between them is fantastic. But for example, this happens, I think, after they kiss, but not after they decide that Simon can be his dumb boy, his horrible bad boy. I don't remember the words, but his boyfriend. And it's just good, man. Yeah. But for example, yeah, this happens then. I think they're sitting in, either standing in the kitchen together or they're in Baz's bedroom. I don't remember. You're being idiotic because I like this better than fighting. There is no this, I protest. You slept in my arms. It's like, correct. Simon, you are correct. I recently watched Pulling Bananas Books book talk on this to sort of refresh my memory on all the bits I liked, and she said that she preferred Baz to Simon, and I don't know. I think I do, but partly just because I relate more to Simon. That sounds so narcissistic. Oh, I'm the main guy, but like in terms of his disposition and just kind like his personality as opposed to like his character, like what he does and stuff, I relate to that far more than I relate to Baz's. But I think I prefer Baz as a result of that, because I identify so much with Simon. I really like Baz because Simon likes Baz. If that makes sense. But I love them both, and again, I love all the characters, but Baz has my heart, because he's just so he's just snarky. People are funny, and I am not one of them. I don't have the wits to be as like sort of quick-witted and snarky as he is. Simon has his snark, and I, as a human, also have mine. But there's just his vampiric, edgy, quick wit just has me in stitches. He's brilliant. But speaking of that thing that I said before, the better than fighting thing, if I can find it. Oh, I can't. I think the scene's later, but no, yeah, I truly love them all so much, and just the relationships, brilliant. Like it makes me so happy, and I don't know why it is, but it just does make me so happy. I also find the entire epilogue, but particularly the last scene we see between Baz and Simon in the apartment is beautiful. This Penelope's point of view is brilliant, and I love seeing where Agatha went. And I love the prom scene. Because one thing about Simon that I really like is and it might be because it's such a stereotype. I'm not sure. But he's just such a basic dude. Like, he's just he's just like, realistically, he's just a kid. Well, not really a kid, like a kid. He's like my age, and it's well, he's like 18 or 19, but it's just really, it just, the humility and the normality of him and the domesticity of these characters really brings me to love them. And I don't know if that's just because I do, or because they're in this kind of, I guess, high fantasy, but it doesn't feel high fantasy world. And then they're saying things like, "Are you still friends with Cook Pritchard?" I assume. It's just, I really hoped there'd been I really hoped there'd be sandwiches. Me too. I always hope for, like, it's stuff like that, and like Simon, and they're just, one thing about, okay, this, I'm so sorry about the lack of this being like super cohesive, because it's really, really not. But I just, Baz is such like I saw a thing describe it in like a stereotype. It's like, oh, the uptight one isn't, the uptight one is soft for the shiny sunshiny one, and it's that trope. I love it so much, and particularly with Baz, but just in general, because like he's such like a stern dude, and then when he's with Simon, it's like, hello, my heart is melting in my throat, and it's brilliant. And I'll end this ranty bullshit on a line that I really like. So Simon, this is at like literally the very end. Simon is talking about the prophecy. So, the whole prophecy is bollocks, I say, and one will come to end us, and one will bring his fall. Did I also bring my own fall? No, Baz says, that was me, obviously. How did you bring my fall? I stopped the humdrum myself. Baz looks back at his phone, bored. Fell in love, didn't you? And then there's Penelope. Penny groans and Baz starts laughing, trying not to crack a smile. Enough flirting, Penny says, flopping down to the stuffed chair his parents gave us, which I carried up myself. I've endured enough flirting for this lifetime. I'm hungry, Simon. Find the biscuit box. These characters make me so happy. And I don't know what it is about them in particular. I do really like the sunshine, the stern one is soft for the sunshiny one. It's a good trope. But yeah. Thank you so much for watching this video. Talk to me in the comments about these characters, and if you like them, or if you've not read these books, and you've watched through the spoiler bit, I guess. I don't know why you would do that, but let me know what you felt about these books. Have you read the sequel yet? Did you like it? Would you like me to talk about it? Because I would happily do so. If not, tell me why you enjoyed this, and etc, etc. Just chat to me in the comments, because that's half the reason I do what I do here, is because I like to talk to you people. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, you know what to do. Please remember to drink your water, eat your vegetables, and peace out, I guess.